The next LittleBigPlanet game, the elusive LittleBigPlanet 4, as some would call it. Will such a game ever exist in our lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. But I do know there have been some rumors and speculation regarding an LBP4 quite recently. And my stance on that is believe what you want to believe, but hype responsibly. I'm taking all of that stuff with a grain of salt. However, I am very hopeful that a new LBP game will happen sometime in the future. Whether it's the near future or the far future, I can't really tell. Instead of wondering if a new LittleBigPlanet game is coming though, I wanted to do a video going over what I want to see in a new LittleBigPlanet. I want to share some of the reasons why I think a new LBP game should exist at all. And at first, that's all I really wanted to do with this video. It was just going to be about my thoughts. But as some of you might know, if you follow me on Twitter that is, I put out a tweet a few weeks ago asking people in the LBP community to tell me what they wanted to see in a new LBP game. Not only that, but I asked people to send me voice clips and video clips of them detailing their LBP4 hopes and ideas so I could put them in this very video. I thought this would be a cool thing to do, mainly because I get to share with you guys what the LBP community as a whole, at least parts of the community, want to see in an LBP4 or an LBP sequel. Instead of one perspective, it's from multiple. LittleBigPlanet also is a game that's all about its community, so I thought it would be nice to give the LBP community more of a voice, more of a platform where their ideas can hopefully be heard by a lot more people than usual. So, I'm now going to share with you those hopes and ideas from the LBP community, and near the end of the video, I'll come back and share my thoughts on a new LBP game and what I think they should add. Before I start, I just want to thank everyone that participated. I want to thank you for doing this collaboration with me. You helped turn this very simple video idea I had into a really neat project that I kind of want to do more of in the future, so if this does well, I might reach out to more people in the community about different topics and stuff like that. So, with that out of the way, enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, this is EpicLBPTime. I'm going to be talking about a few features I would like to have in a potential LittleBigPlanet 4 game. First off, I would love to have a 3D hub world. This could be a place where you can socialize and interact with other online players. To enter the space, you could drop in with your custom-made pod that everyone can see. You could invite players that you meet in the space to your party, and when you decide to leave, they could jump into your pod as it lifts off and leaves the hub world. Besides the social stuff, to keep people coming back, you could add side quests and challenges that can only be accessed by visiting the hub world. And to keep things fresh, the environments could change based on special events or seasons such as Halloween and Christmas. The other feature I would love to have is a battle pass system. It's a common feature we tend to see in most modern multiplayer games such as Fortnite and Call of Duty. I feel this feature would fit in perfectly in an LBP game. In the battle pass, they could be items such as stickers, emotes, costumes, materials, and you would have the most desirable item at the end of the battle pass, which will most likely be a really cool costume. To level up the battle pass, you will need XP, which can be gained by pretty much doing anything in the game. For example, by playing community levels, you could maybe get bonus XP when playing with friends. You could gain more XP for playing levels that don't have a lot of plays. This would encourage players to explore and discover new levels. For players that like to create, you could gain XP by multiple ways as well, such as publishing levels, making prizes, or even when every time someone plays or hearts your levels, you could gain a little bit of XP. Once you have maxed out your battle pass, you could show off all the cool items you've collected, such as emotes and costumes, to your friends, and also show them off in the hub world. So those are a few things I would like to have in a future LBP game, and thanks to BlazingVictini for having me on.
If they're going to make a LittleBigPlanet 4, I think one of the coolest things they could actually do is take inspiration from LittleBigPlanet Karting's 3D Create mode, and take that and just kind of polish it up a little bit, obviously make it into a platformer instead of just with carts. But that Create mode I think actually had a lot of potential and could make for a really cool game. I also think the best studio who could take it over would be Tarsier, the same people who made LittleBigPlanet Vita, because that is my favorite LittleBigPlanet story, and I also really like the style that they take. And then the last thing is, might as well keep the Sackboy A Big Adventure costumes compatible with it, because, you know, they're already making those anyway.
Hello, my name is PenetrantCathect, aka Cathexis27. First of all, I want to point out that I'm still learning the language, so sorry for grammar mistakes, repeating words, anything. Yeah, thank you Blazing for making this video. I hope some of you guys like my ideas. The first thing I want to talk about is image import. As you guys may know, it got scrapped in the final build of LBP1 for some reason, and it got brought back by modding. But yeah, the server shutdown happened and can't be obtained anymore. Next thing I want to talk about is realism. LittleBigPlanet 1 has the most realistic effects in the whole franchise, in my opinion, so would be cool if you bring back fire. The fire in LBP3 looks very bad in my opinion. Would be cool if Blazing could show you guys a comparison of the LBP1 fire and the LBP3 fire, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Realistic lighting, mirror effects would be very appreciated. The best mirror reflection effect in the whole franchise is water for some reason. Putting stickers on clothing is very frustrating sometimes, so someone needs to find a solution to that one. Maybe they could add a function which lets us choose the texture for each specific costume piece, for example. Speaking of clothing, it is very hard designing a character for a video game. So I would like to see more pullovers, t-shirts, pants, shoes, bags, glasses, hair, realistic skin even, and so on. LBP2 had these sub-level transitions and they were so freaking good, and I want those back in the next one, of course. As you may know, the sub-level transitions in LBP3 has a loading screen in it, so yeah, I want those to be gone. The last thing I want to talk about is the story. LBP3 has a very bland storyline, in my opinion, so I want an emotional roller coaster in the next LittleBigPlanet. Yeah, that's about it. Have a nice day and greetings from Germany.
I've honestly not really gotten that many requirements for LBP4, because honestly, in terms of logic and stuff like that, LBP3's basically already got everything I can think of. Hell, I'd be happy with LBP1 remastered. All I really want is just an LBP game that's got minimal bugs and a community. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that I've got zero complaints with LBP. If that multiplayer still sucks, I will be pissed. Trust me, I will be pissed. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to not be rushed and for it to sell well. The bar is pretty low for me personally.
So, given the fact that I've been modding this game for probably like 10 years now, I find that most of my enjoyment comes from modding the games and taking them beyond what's possible out of the box and creating extra content for them that wasn't already in the game. You know, like creating new costume bits and creating new backgrounds and creating new materials and just creating new content and seeing it come to life in a game that I thought never could be modded. And I know that there's a lot of community members out there who feel the same way that I do about this franchise. And so, I think that if there's a new LittleBigPlanet game, it needs some sort of official modding API or toolkit or something like that. And I know that this is really difficult with, Sony's platform. The PlayStation platform has been locked down since the PS3 days. I mean, look at like GeoHot and back when you could jailbreak your PS3 and install Linux on it and whatever. Sony's locked down on modding and that kind of thing tenfold. So it's kind of a big wish, but I know that Sony has been porting a lot of their games to PC. I mean, look at Steam. There's God of War, there's Horizon Zero Dawn on Steam, and I feel like if there was a new LittleBigPlanet game on Steam or on PC in some way, with Steam Workshop support, that would solve two problems. The first of which being, nobody is going to hack the Steam Workshop, nobody is going to try and take down the Steam Workshop. It's not the same as like a LittleBigPlanet server where, some kid can get in and delete everyone's levels or position everyone's levels on top of their Earth or anything crazy like that. The Steam community, the Steam Workshop, I should say, is a lot more secure. And then the second thing is, it would allow people to, kind of like Gary's mod, log on and download whatever mods they want to create with, and then hop on with a couple friends on Steam and play online in a create mode, which I know is kind of a big draw for a lot of people, is to just hop into create mode and mess around. So, you know, I feel like if there's a new LittleBigPlanet game, they should hard focus on user-created content beyond just giving people the tools to do so in-game. And I know that this is basically like, oh, why wouldn't you just use Dreams? The problem with Dreams is that it kind of throws everything at you. So if you don't really understand how to use Dreams' toolkit, then you're not going to really understand how to use Dreams. You're just going to want to play levels. And I think that LittleBigPlanet should at the surface remain simple, because that's kind of always been its draw, is how simple it is. But the toolkit should be optional in some way. There should be some way to involve new content in the game beyond what's possible for people that are advanced, for people that are, you know, who want to do so. But there should always be a baseline LittleBigPlanet game with the basic create tools that basically LittleBigPlanet 3 gives you at the surface. I know it's kind of a big wish, but you know me. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to play this game if I couldn't mod it. I definitely wouldn't be playing it in the long term if I couldn't mod it. And, you know, if Sony or whatever developers care enough about the longevity of their games, they'll know that modding is a big factor in keeping your game alive for a really long time. And that's pretty much where LittleBigPlanet is at right now, I feel. There's so many people who are invested in this game just to mod it. So if there's a new LittleBigPlanet game, being able to mod it is a big plus, if that is a feature.
If LittleBigPlanet 4 were to release, it definitely needs a more in-depth story mode. LittleBigPlanet 3 story mode, although average at best, needless to say, it was very underwhelming and quite the buggy mess. And that was the problem. Not as many more people wanted to play it because it wasn't interesting. It wasn't exciting. People's save data kept getting erased, leading to people not even wanting to attempt the campaign ever again. Which is why, for LittleBigPlanet 4, if we focused a little bit more on story mode, making it bigger but more necessary for the game. It sounds a little bit dumb, I know, but if we just added in these creative aspects like what they did with the Poppet puzzles within LittleBigPlanet 3 and merged them within just normal story levels, I think that would be 10 times better than adding in 3 new characters, because those 3 new characters were just limited versions of Sackboy. Why not just combine the characters into one? Only have Sackboy. That's all you need. And then add more abilities on top of that. Not those stupid hat things that you got during the campaign that honestly were just very gimmicky. Allow Sackboy to use his Poppet. That's all that it needs. In fact, here, let me just say something. It's a little bit out of place, but if you just combined LittleBigPlanet 2 story mode and LittleBigPlanet 3's Poppet puzzles and partial bits of the story mode, you might have an excellent story mode that keeps people playing your game. Maybe not like how the community has it, but they have an incentive. They want to learn. They're going to learn just by playing your game, which is so much better than just shoving it in a side area, which not many people really looked at because it looked boring. Other than that, I mean, really, that would probably just be the best way to do it. The only thing I can't really comment on is like story and the actual levels themselves, but just integrate that creativeness that we are given in every other aspect of the game and put it in your story mode. Am I learning anything by playing your story mode? No, I want to learn how to create stuff. I want to learn this stuff while playing. But I don't want to sit there and wait a half millennium just playing Poppet puzzles to learn some of the mechanics. I want to learn so many mechanics, but I am just so, I don't know how to say it, discouraged. There we go. I'm so discouraged to try because I can't learn anything there. It is hard to learn how to create stuff, And that's why LittleBigPlanet 4 needs its story mode to be more in depth, because it needs to teach the players. It needs to be fun, it needs to be educational, not in a school sense, but you know what I mean. It needs to be good, if you get what I mean.
Hello everyone, it is your daily dose of verbal diarrhea. I have brought my terrible camera quality by BlazingVictini's channel and have infected it with my absolute pure awesomeness. What I want is a pod that is fully customizable, but it has multiple different rooms. One room for each new character from LBP3. I don't want them to come in LBP4, but like they could be like cameo in the pod, right? Like a different room for each character, secret rooms, much bigger rooms, fully customized. You can have like many levels in the rooms. Just a more expanded pod. And the last thing I want is a game. And listen very closely, Sumo. I want a game that actually works. It doesn't break every time I play it.
Hello, my name's Dawson. Formerly, ItsDawsDaws on PSN and other social media. In terms of LittleBigPlanet 4 for the video, two things I'd really like to see. I'd love to see the story pay homage to the original games. Maybe something along the lines of a Newton painting on the wall, or Avalon Centrifuge helping you in a story level again. Maybe somewhere where the king needs your help, but something that ties back into the old games. I really think there's something magical in the ability to tie in old stories with a new. If they go the 3D route, I'd like to see two different types of create modes. Maybe a current updated one that has a lot to do with 3D creation, but maybe a separate create mode that they could call maybe classic mode that lets you build and create in the same 2.5D style of the previous games. Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Michael, otherwise known as Alkaline Thunder, or that guy who randomly tweeted Blazing Spaghetti a few days ago on Twitter. What do I want to see in a new LittleBigPlanet game? I want to see the story mode go back to basics. I don't like the LittleBigPlanet Adventure series. It's not that it's a bad story, it's perfectly adequate, but I don't like the non-linear fashion of it. LittleBigPlanet feels better when it's that linear story where you start off in a tutorial level at the start, and then you go into those different curators and progress through each level one by one. I don't like having to navigate through a hub world trying to find the next level, and I prefer the linear 2D platformer style approach to it that we had in LittleBigPlanet 1 and 2. If you want to do something intricate in terms of the narrative like LittleBigPlanet 3, then go ahead, but don't try to make it a choose your own adventure game. I also want to see better create mode controls, because for me, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the LittleBigPlanet 3 adventure and the way it was played, so I've mostly become a creator, and I don't really play levels often anymore. And create mode is serviceable, but it's not the greatest experience sometimes. Whenever I'm working in a lot of complicated levels, I find it very difficult to tear things apart and break things down to their individual sections. When I go to hide an object, I can hide each object selectively. I can hide a piece of wood, and then I can hide something that's attached to it, and so on and so on. But if I want to unhide a specific piece of an intricate object that I have everything hidden for, maybe I want to unhide a specific piece of sticker panel on a massive mech that has a bunch of parts attached to it, and the entire mech is hidden. And I want to unhide that sticker panel so I can tweak it really quickly. Well, there's no way to unhide a selective object. I can't just unhide that one single sticker panel, I have to unhide the entire mech, which isn't ideal. I also want to see better mouse and keyboard support. LittleBigPlanet 3 already has keyboard support. You can plug in a USB keyboard into your PlayStation 4 or 5, and it will go ahead and let you type chat messages. You can search for levels typing into it. You can also use it to type in magic mouth messages and notes and labels for tags and actor labels and all sorts of different useful things. And that's already really great. But I also want to see create mode controls bound to the mouse and keyboard. For example, you could start blocking out a level using the mouse and smearing things around with the grid tool enabled, but then you could pan the camera around with the keyboard. Or you could be working on logic and using the mouse to connect things together, but the keyboard to control things like hiding and typing in labels and stuff like that. Or maybe you could use the mouse to zoom in and out while you're working on things. Or you could use the keyboard to control scale and rotation and stuff like that. there's a lot of possibilities if you had mouse and keyboard support. So I want to see that in a Little Big Planet game. And lastly, I want to see less layers. 16 layers in Little Big Planet 3 was a great addition to the game in terms of marketing, because you have 13 entire new layers of creativity. But in practice, it's not the greatest experience to work with. In fact, in adventure levels in the game and the context contest blockout that Mark Hall did, you never see more than 3 active playable layers. And it's kind of a waste of 16 layers if you don't have a particular reason to launch the player between different active layers. And also, it's not an easy experience to work with. Oftentimes, when I'm working on a level that uses more than 3 layers, if I start working in the background layers, and I happen to accidentally hover over an object that's in the foreground, the cursor starts to get jumpy. You can hide the foreground layers with the pause menu settings, but I feel like I shouldn't have to do that. I feel like that's more of a workaround than a feature, to be honest. And honestly, with how little community levels I see use the 16 layers, I'd rather have less layers. Maybe we have 3 like we did in Little Big Planet 1 and 2, or 2 like we did on PSP. Actually, I'm memeing there, don't do that. Or maybe we have something simple like 5 or 6 or 9, but definitely not 16. That's a little bit excessive. And with that said, that's all of the insight I have into what I would want to see in a Little Big Planet game.
For me, to be honest, I just want it to be like, there should be like an option for like create, if you want to create in 3D or in 2D.
And I think the thing that was always so special about the first game and the second game is it wasn't a very counterintuitive create system. Like, you could go in with no create experience and still make something.
Oh yeah.
Or it wouldn't take long to get a handle on the tools, where I think when people are saying like, oh, Dreams is the new Little Big Planet, it's like, it's really not. Like,
yeah.
Because Little Big Planet was aimed at everyone. I feel like Dreams is a very like game dev package. You know, I want it to go back to its roots of being like very accessible to anyone to create.
Personally, I would like an official Little Big Planet Discord server, and because it'd be a like, I know we have servers like Little Big Home, Union, Workshop, but I think an official server would be really cool because it'd be really big and we get to talk to many people.
One thing I really want to see is a new engine, like new servers, everything just fresh, because the way it is right now, they cannot use a 10-year-old engine in current day. It just doesn't seem like they would ever do that. I just want like a game with a good vibe, you know, like a nice atmosphere. I just want a polished video game. I want them to take their time with it. I don't want any LBP3 to ever happen again, because that was bad. I want good servers, like stable servers. I want good online play.
On the new LBP game, it would be great if there were more levels based on sports. I remember one level on LBP2 story that was my favorite to play with friends, and it was based on basketball, I believe. If there were new sports on this game, it would be awesome. Maybe a land based on sports? There are so many, I think it would work, but you know, I'm not a dev, so perhaps it could not be a good idea.
The only thing I want to see for Little Planet 4 would be for less server issues. Not just because of the hacking, but I mean in general. I was playing Little Planet 3 yesterday and it just wasn't a good online experience for anybody. And even Saba, the online, I've had like 1,000 hours in that game. The online is on par to Little Planet 3, even with crazy internet speeds. It's so hard for somebody like a speedrunner. Some jumps, even though they should be possible, even like not that hard jumps to do, like jumps that are like physically impossible online, and I have no idea why. I think it has something to do with the netcode of the game, but that's all I want to see for the new Little Planet game. It's just better online stability.
There are a lot of new things a new Little Big Planet 4 could potentially bring us, whether it be new logic, materials, gameplay additions, etc. As someone who's been playing the series since 2008, seeing how much both Media Molecule and Sumo Digital have been able to successfully one-up their last entry of the main series, really anything is possible. One thing I've enjoyed the most in LittleBigPlanet is logic. The incredible ability to just about create your own gameplay at near free will still blows my mind to this day. LBP3 has given me even more power to create even more incredible custom logic. From being able to wall jump across layers, to literally recreating Black Ops 3's base zombies gameplay, all being able to purchase perks like Juggernog and Speed Cola, to being able to revive someone under a strict timer before they die and lose said perks and custom weapons. Creating logic reminds me of Unreal Engine's Blueprint mode. They run in a very similar fashion, and you can make nearly anything out of them. The problem with the game is the current engine it runs under, and we all know how outdated that is. But part of my hopes is that they will also develop the game under a new engine that is also able to tackle the game's incredible create mode. We've seen the sheer power the PS5 has. Why not create a new game with that?
And with that, I'm the only person left. So, what do I want to see in a potential LittleBigPlanet sequel? Well, it might not be the most original idea, might not be the most original wish, but the thing I want most is just a more enjoyable experience overall. Better online multiplayer, more stable servers, faster load times, and less glitches than LBP3. And the only way I see any of that happening is if this new game is a reboot. And by reboot, I'm not saying that LBP should go back to basics. I don't think we should be going back to like LBP1 levels of simplicity. And I'm not even saying like the story modes of each of the games should be forgotten either. I feel like those aspects should be carried over. I feel like a new LBP game should build off of LBP3 in some ways. When I say reboot, I'm mainly referring to the development side of things. I don't want the next LittleBigPlanet game to build off of LBP3's code. If that is done, I can already tell that LBP4 is set up for disaster day one. LittleBigPlanet 3's code was already built off of LBP2's code, with Media Molecule, the original creators, built off of LBP1's code. And by the time Media Molecule passed down LittleBigPlanet onto Sumo Digital, it was a mess from the get-go, and most definitely is part of the reason as to why LittleBigPlanet 3 was and still is so buggy for so many players today. I want to see a new engine, a better and more modern server implementation. And yes, I want whoever is developing this game, whether it's Sumo, Media Molecule, or someone else, to finally drop and get rid of backwards compatibility with LBP1, LBP2, and LBP3 levels. Yes, that last wish, I know, is a little controversial for some, but just hear me out. LittleBigPlanet 3 is old. The servers it's running on are even older. Millions of levels are stored on those servers, and it's crazy to me that LBP3 still manages to maintain every LBP1 and 2 level through backwards compatibility, especially after the server shutdowns on PS3. It's genuinely impressive. But not only do they not work properly half the time, you could go beyond the third layers in LBP1 and 2 levels, as well as just like a bunch of issues like graphics wise and stuff like that. Transferring all of that data to another new game, including the LBP3 levels, so backwards compatibility with LBP1, 2, and 3 levels, would put a massive strain on the new servers, if there's even new servers at all. Not to mention a lot of work, right? And while it would be amazing if there was some type of solution to get backwards compatibility working flawlessly, I'd rather not take my chances. I want a LittleBigPlanet game that is stable right out of the gate more than anything else. And besides, with the removal of backwards compatibility, the developers aren't restricted to keeping the game mostly identical to previous entries. They can go wild with new ideas for the series, including stuff like full-on 3D level creation. This also gives us a fresh start. It will basically feel like we're playing LittleBigPlanet 1 again for the first time when it launched back in 2008, except more modern and more tools and new tools, old tools, everything combined into this ultimate Little Big Planet game. And I don't even really mind if we don't get 3D level creation or some other new big step for the series. I just want a game that I and everyone else in the Little Big Planet community can enjoy playing for years on end. I also want to be able to enjoy making YouTube content on the game for as long as possible. Similar to games like Minecraft or GTA 5, I want an LBP game that can live on for multiple console generations and constantly get new updates over years and years. I want these content updates to add game-changing tools and logic alongside cool new stories and costumes. I want official contests again and other events. Bring back LBP.me so I could queue levels again and read up on all the newest Little Big Planet news. There's a lot of things I could wish for, but there's nothing I truly want more than just having the desire to boot up and play LBP again. A desire I don't really have with something like LBP3 nowadays. Here's hoping a new Little Big Planet game is in development, and it addresses some of those hopes and wishes that I and everyone else in the community talked about today. Once again, thank you to everyone who sent their clip in for the video. I've been dying to make a big community-centric video like this, as well as just an LBP4 discussion video in general. And you know, I don't think this will be the last LBP4 discussion video I'll do either. There's still a bit I'd like to talk about regarding a new Little Big Planet game. There's a lot I can make videos on, especially if it gets announced in the coming years. But in this video, I just kind of wanted to focus on hopes, wishes, and ideas. Maybe in the future I could do something like predictions, because that's sort of an entirely different thing, right? Predicting things that will happen in a new LBP game is not necessarily things you want to see. At least that's how I think about it. By the way, for those who submitted a clip for today's video, I'll be leaving your socials and stuff in the description below so that people can check you out on all those platforms, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you want me to put down there, just let me know. You could reach out to me through Twitter DMs, Discord, all that stuff. It's the least I can do for you guys for helping me out with this video and all. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment down below discussing what you want to see in a Little Big Planet sequel. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. I just wanted to give a big thanks to Diva, Neefty, and Josh Spears for becoming members on this channel. If you want your name at the end of my videos, want a shout out, or if you just want to support the channel, feel free to hit that join button down below and become a YouTube member yourself. Regardless if you are a member or not though, thanks for watching till the end. I really appreciate it.